We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
All right, Steve. Steve needs in-ceiling Atmos speakers for his currently under construction theater. It will be a 5.2.4 system in a 19 by 11 by 8 foot room. His speakers will be Aperion Verus Grand bookshelves, so he's planning on buying 4 Aperion Intimus L6 in-ceiling speakers, but they're back-ordered into mid-February, and he needs to have the speakers installed by early January. So that's not going to work. What other in-ceiling speakers will timbre match well with the Verus Grands at the same price point as the L600s? That's $300 a pair. He'd particularly like a model that offers backer boxes, since he is doing some pretty heavy-duty soundproofing with insulation, clips, and hat channels and all that stuff, and 2 layers of drywall with green glue, blah, 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 blah. So he wants backer boxes. Okay, the Verus Grand speakers are pretty neutral speakers. Yep. They're not trying to change the sound at all. So what you're looking for essentially is a pretty neutral speaker, which we would recommend anyways. So there are, I mean, the companies that come to mind whenever I think of neutral speakers are RBH. Yep. Is one that comes to mind. Like Paradigm, those sorts of any of the Canadian the PSBs, those sort of things all come to mind. I don't know if they have
Revel
ones
as
that
well. Revel's pretty darn neutral.
Sure.
Yep.
Revel. I could see that. Yeah, those are the ones that come to mind, to be honest with you. So what you got?
Yeah, so over at RBH, they have their A600s. Now, I'm not 100% sure on the current price. When I found a review that mentioned the price, they said $120 each. So that seems like it's in the ballpark. Seems like they're around there. Very neutral speaker, 6.5-inch standard size. I'd have no qualms suggesting an RBH in-ceiling speaker to you to match with Aperion Verus Grands. I think they'd match swimmingly well. And they do offer back enclosures, but that brings me to another point, which is you're not in the typical situation of someone who's just got a normal ceiling, a single layer of drywall, regular joists, probably some insulation up there, and they just want to put a backer box so that the sound isn't ringing around in the cavity. You're going way above and beyond that to full soundproofing, which, in my opinion, I would suggest building a soundproof backer box. So I would simply get the dimensions of the backer box for the RBH speaker and then build your own. And over at soundproofingcompany.com, which I'm pretty sure that's where he got the plans for his current soundproofing, because that's exactly what they recommend over there. They have their plan for how to build a backer box. They're describing it for putting it around a can light. But right in the document, they're like, for any large opening in wall or ceiling, whatever, this is what we'd recommend. Obviously, a in-ceiling speaker fits that description. So that's what I would suggest, because I think you need even more soundproofing than what just the prefabricated backer box will give you to reach the same level as the soundproofing you're building into the rest of the room. So that's how I'd come at the backer box situation.
All right. Yeah. He also asks, what about monoprice in-ceiling speakers with backer boxes that we've been recommending recently? Their low price makes them intriguing. Now, Verus Grands are pretty nice speakers, dude. And I want to say, to be honest with you, I honestly believe that it doesn't really matter all that much what speakers you put in your ceilings. For your Atmos speakers, it really doesn't matter that much. But there's some little part of me that goes, I don't know if I would skimp quite that much.
Yeah, like when Lee Overstreet was on and he described them as basically car audio speakers, I'm like, yeah, they're like, like a very decent stock car audio system. Now you get that for $50 and you're like, I'm pretty darn happy with that. Like most stock car audio systems you hear these days, they're like, yeah, that's fine. Like I'm not upset by this sound at all. I'm not the least bit upset by the monoprice speaker sound, but I don't think they're up to the level of the Verus Grands. And you're going to quite the extent in this room.
Yeah,
you're only going to put these speakers in once. I'm like, the RBHs are right there, and we're very confident in those.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel about it too. Yeah. Like I think that you would probably be fine.
Right.
But
To me, it's that pan, right? You get the pan of the thing that came from the front speakers, and it flies right overhead and goes into the surround backs, and you hear the timbre change as it goes above you, and you're like, if I had spent, $100 more for the RBHs, this wouldn't be happening.
Right.
Yeah, that's
how much are those other things? Are they $20?
The mono price? Yeah, they're like $45 a pair or something like that. They're very. Yeah. I mean, that is attractive, and they do sound
that is attractive,
very fine. I'm not the least bit upset about it. I did want to mention one last thing though, and the whole soundproofing thing made me think of this because I'm like, what's even better than in-ceiling speakers and soundproof backer boxes is no big hole in your ceiling at all.
Yeah.
Which those Focal Bird speakers that you can get from accessories for less. They mount on the ceiling. They sound darn good. They're a very nice neutral speaker. Plenty of people have bought them on our recommendation. We haven't had a single person say anything less than they're surprised at how good they are and they really, really like them. They fit into this price if you get them from accessories for less. So I could understand if having anything hanging down from your ceiling ruins the look that you were going for or something like that. Yeah,
I think that's probably what the issue would be there.
If that isn't the case and you're like, oh, I just didn't think of them, then I wanted to mention them as a possibility because then you don't even have to make a big hole in your ceiling.
There you go. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.